never read him, but still, we usually talk a little, lightening things up. But right now, nobody's making a sound. I try to offer some conversation, hoping to avoid the increasing tension. So, what really is this frozen flame thing? Why are we after the frozen flame? What really is this frozen flame thing? No response. Just as I start to think no one is going to answer, McGill starts to speak, his low voice echoing throughout the stone corridor. It was said to be a gem which soothes all scars, granting eternal life to its owner. Or so people believed. The frozen flame is more than just an object. It's not of this world. It descended from the heavens long ago, part of a huge meteorite. Once, there lived a people who sought to harness its power, hoping to tap into their yet unknown potential, and so it became a treasure of great importance and dreams. However, whether a gift which bestows power is actually a blessing or a curse is another question altogether. Since the birth of humanity, at least one entire race has fallen because of it. These people once built a great thriving metropolis with its power, but now all knowledge of this era has been completely lost within the sands of time. A faint feeling of distress comes across McGill's voice throughout his speech. But then, how do you know all of this? I asked. Again, no answer. Now, this part is up to your interpretation. I believe, basically, that the frozen flame is a shard of Lavos' because this is a Chrono Trigger game. It is a shard of Lavos' shell, and the Great Society that he is talking about is the... oh, hell. Oh, God, what's it called? Zenin? Palace? It's the floating temple palace with the queen and everyone, with Scala and her little brother and all that. And Magus, or McGill, I believe, is Magus from Chrono Trigger. That is my opinion. That could be wrong, I suppose, because once again I have not completely done everything in Chrono Cross, so it could prove to be someone else. I believe that this is like an ancestor or such of Magus from Chrono Trigger, however. But yeah, so the reason he knows is Zeal. That's what it was. Zeal. I believe that McGill was around during the Zeal Palace era, and that the reason he knows all of this is because he comes from that era, and is, of course, a Magus who wanted to get rid of Lavos and such. Keeping silent, I continued walking, our footsteps once again becoming the only sound filling this dark path. Well, whether any of that's true or not, it'll all lead us to the same place. Say your prayers, Lynx. We're coming for you. That's all I know, and that's plenty. The frozen flame. What in the world could Lynx see in that mysterious rock? Flooded with thoughts, I paused for a moment to take a deep breath and calm myself. Continuing on a moment later, I feel as though I'm a bit more at peace. Suddenly McGill comes to a stop. Do not move. Huh? Ken and I look around suspiciously. Around us, bones are scattered in all directions. Many of them have been cut cleanly in half. Looking around more amidst the dim light, I start to see all the walls have been splattered with blood. And my controller shut off again. God dang it. Okay, apparently my controller is dying. Splattered with blood. Then suddenly a trace of light catches my eye from behind. There's a bolt of electricity approaching us, sparkling like a lit fuse on the ground. Coming within a few feet of us, the spark splits off into two, forming a circle around us. Once the circle is completed, an odd glow starts to shine at our feet. Then, from where the sparks had traced, light shoots upward, forming a wall of light all around us. It's a devil circle. We try to move, but we find ourselves caught within the rays of light. And this is where the Griffin's little hint comes in handy. This is a cool little effect, isn't it? The scalding noisy wind swirling around us, all I see are rays of light, rays of shimmering light in every direction I look. Well, what do? I can't see anything in all this light. McGill grabs me by the shoulder and turns me to the center of the circle. Thankfully, he seems to be able to see just fine. His mask is probably shielding his eyes from the radiance. There's always a way out of a devil circle. We must find the gaps to walk through. If you say so. Suddenly, Kid's elbow grazes one of the walls. Sparks scatter in all directions. She instantly snaps her arm back, wincing in pain. Alright, unable to see any gaps whatsoever, I hesitantly start to make my way towards the blinding wall of light. Take 3 steps to the right, take 2 steps to the right, take 3 steps to the left, take 2 steps to the left, try to forcefully break through. So it was 3 steps right. Take 3 steps to the right. Come on, to the right a little. There. Come on, now. From where we stand, a small gap in the wall can be seen all of a sudden. Holding my breath, I leap into it, with my arm shielding my face. Alright, we made it through. However, I open my eyes and only see even more of these glimmering walls swirling before us. Unable to see any gaps whatsoever, I only start to make my way towards the wall of light. This time, it is 2 steps left. 2 steps left. We've got to go to the left a little. There. Come on. From where we stand, a small gap in the wall can be seen all of a sudden. Holding my breath, I leap into it, my arms shielding my face. And then 2 steps to the right. However, I open my eyes only to see even more of these glimmering walls swirling before us. Unable to see any gaps whatsoever, I must start to make my way towards the wall of light. And it is 2 steps right. To the right, slowly. There. Come on. From where we stand, a small gap in the wall can be seen all of a sudden, and we jump through it, and we are good. We have escaped the devil circle. Ho ho ho. Scurry away from the blood-curdling thing as fast as I can. Looking back, I see it vanish in a puff of smoke, just as quickly as it arrived. The wind instantly dies down as well, and all the dust and grime that was blowing around falls back to the floor in a flash. Everything has returned to a quiet stillness. Too quiet. And so, heading down the hallway further and further, eventually, an ornate set of doors. At last! Kid steps towards the mighty set of doors, letting out a sigh of relief. Beyond this door, the frozen flame. From behind his mask, McGill's eyes let loose a cool radiance. Okay, let's go, Kid says eagerly, grasping the handle. Whoa. There it is, the real frozen flame. This cavern sprawls out to great lengths before our eyes, a forgotten world hidden deep below the ground. And with scarlet radiance, a single small gem shimmers in the darkness. The frozen flame. Finally, we're here. The jewel shimmers warmly, almost as if it's responding to Kid's voice. Taking a few steps into the moist cavern, McGill whispers, "Remarkable, intact ruins of the lost magical kingdom." Just as I start to ask McGill what he means, a taunting laugh can be heard from high above us. Lynx. Lynx! Kid immediately pulls out her knife and hurls it through the air with all her might. As it approaches Lynx, he easily swats it out of his way, almost too quickly for me to see. Always the same, such a savage. Can't you give a gentleman honest greeting? You bastard, Kid interrupts. And what have we here? The notorious Shadow Walker. I wouldn't be trying anything like last time if I were you. Beside me, I see McGill come to a stop. Lord Lynx, Viper Manor's deadly owner. The very same man who murdered Kid's sister, deceived Riddell's father, and eradicated the Acacia Dragoons. Welcome back, Kid. I see you have successfully taken the bait, gluttonous as ever. What? Kid says hesitantly, taking a step back. Link stares down at her with those frightening, piercing eyes of his. You see, kid, I brought you here because of the rock you carry. Which rock? Surely you remember the one you received from your sister all those years ago. The priceless keepsake you carry with you dearly even now. The Chrono Trigger. How'd you know about that? Kid's gaze returns to a scowl. No matter. We're here for the Frozen Flame. You're finished, you bastard. Ah, yes, toss your little threats around, but remember, no matter how many times you think you have won, I have generously demonstrated how gravely you are mistaken. And with that, Link unsheaths a beautiful golden saber. Previously, I've overlooked doing away with you, letting you scurry on with your pathetic little life. However, this time, I may not be so generous. Kid takes another step back, glaring at Lynx as he approaches. Lynx, you murderer! I'll never forgive you for Lucca. This ends here and now. And so Kid leaps into the air in a fit of rage, aiming a kick between Lynx's eyes. However, just as she reaches him, he swiftly dodges. Kid stands there, wondering how she could have missed. Beside her, Lynx laughs, taunting. Jumping up once again, Kid lets loose a fierce kick. Skimming the tip of his nose, her kick cuts through nothing but air. In a parry attack, Lynx sends his razor-sharp golden saber through the air. But Kid's already leapt back. The two face each other only a few feet apart. If only you had been a bit faster, Kid, Lynx says, smiling. All of a sudden, a line of red streaks across Kid's face. Kid? Wiping off the blood, Kid angrily rushes Lynx in a flash through the air. Effortlessly dodging, Lynx drives the sword into her back as soon as she lands. Kid bends back in alarming pain. Somehow staying on her feet, she stumbles back and readies herself to charge again. Stupid little brat. Lynx lands an elbow onto Kid's shoulder, knocking her clear down to the ground. I feel her pain from the pit of my stomach as I start to see blood trickling from her lips. What's wrong, little girl? Once again, Kid tries to lash out at Lynx, but he easily kicks her, sending her back onto a pile of ore. Lynx then looks upward, focusing his concentration on the ceiling. As I look up, I see a number of rocks that come dislodged from the cavern, tumbling down onto her. Kid! I call out as I start to rush over to her. However, just as soon as I start to, I see McGill's already there. He streaked across the shadows, putting himself between Lynx and Kid. Saying nothing, Lynx shoots a thread of white light out of his fingertips. The thread-like substance entangles McGill, binding his feet together. He hits the ground with a thud. In a dazzling radiance, a countless number of threads fly out from Lynx's fingertips. They immobilize McGill, completely leaving only his head visible. How does that feel, Shadow Walker? Have you felt my webs start to drain your life energy yet? Lynx says, smiling ominously. Grrr. Kid, McGill, what am I going to do? Stand up to Lynx, try to free McGill, help Kid. Help Kid. Kid! She looks over towards me. With blood trickling from her mouth, she only moves a little. Kid, are you alright? She lies there motionless, wincing painfully. Surge. It's okay, Kid. I'm here for you. How kind. However, I think you should be more concerned with your own well-being, young man. An icy chill runs down my spine as I hear the evil voice behind me. I stand up and turn around. So you, whoever you are, opposing me is quite useless, as you obviously have seen. And in a flash, Lynx grabs me by the neck. He strangles me with his long, disgusting fingers. Urgh. Then he starts to lift me up on my neck, struggling for air, painfully there, unable to tear myself free from his powerful grip. Look, Kid. Look at your pathetic little companion suffering. You can make this all stop if you want. With blood dripping from her lips, Kid opens one of her eyes, painfully gasping and coughing. She lifts her head up to us. Come on. My controller's not off. What the heck? There we go. She still wants to get up, but she's hurt far too badly. Surge! Hand over the Chrono Trigger, Kid. Little do you know, but that rock is actually a tiny condensed universe. When combined with the Frozen Flame, it gains the power to bend space-time, allowing its owner to reshape history. This all could have never happened if you merely wished it. Saying this, Lynx looks towards me, expressionless. And what about you, young man? Perhaps you know where the chrono trigger is, he asks, tightening his grip. Surge! What are you going to do, kid? Can you afford to let this little boy die without helping? How will it feel to have his blood on your hands? As Lynx grasps tighter and tighter, I feel myself starting to lose it. Lynx's face becomes a blur. Suddenly, Kid's voice snaps me back to attention. I'm sorry, Surge. Well, what should I do? Don't give it to him. Don't do what he wants, kid. Don't give it to him. Don't do it. My consciousness fading. Stop! The stone. Here. Lynx looks over to Kid. His eyes light up as his hands loosen around my neck. Abandoning me, Lynx rushes over to her side. Here it is, Lynx. Kid reaches into her pocket. Lynx draws closer. Despite being drained of nearly all strength, Kid manages to whip her knife out, fiercely slashing at Lynx. Screaming viciously, Lynx falls back, cradling his mangled face. Blood starts to trickle down from behind his fingers. You! Lynx staggers to his feet, keeping his right hand on the wound. I will have such fun killing you all. With as much power as she can muster, Kid kicks at Lynx, sweeping him off his feet. Ha! Spitting blood, Kid coughs a little, but still a smile manages to come through her agony. Kid. I run over towards her, still feeling the burning grip on my neck. Lynx turns to Kid, staring at her with his cold, evil gaze. Child, you shall beg for death soon enough. Every flavor of pain shall be yours. Prepare to join Luca. Hearing this, Kid's eyes slowly open and catch sight of Lynx. A red-hot gaze burns in her eyes. Slowly she rises to her feet. A shimmering light suddenly spurts out of the frozen flame. At the same time, a golden light bursts out of Kid's chest. Swirling around her, the light rises up, spreading outwards in a glistening spiral. Well, what is this? Lynx gasps. Kid's voice calls from deep within the shower of light. You will not win, Lynx. She trembles, her eyes flowing with red tears. And then a single voice can be heard. It's a deep, profound voice, the voice of undeniable honesty and truth. Long ago, in a far-off kingdom, lived a girl. Because of her power, the kingdom had come to an end, crumbling under its own weight. Many became engulfed in the temporal vortex that was created, never to be heard from again. But not the girl. She lived on, enduring a much sadder fate. Running from her past and fearing her future, she wanted nothing more than to be swallowed up in the surging waves of the vortex of time. Hating what she'd done, refusing what she'd said or heard. To simply continue living was her curse. But the stone, it had other plans for her. Turning back hands of her clock, scattering her memories, she was granted another chance. Since the precious stone was in her possession, she carried with her all its will and power. And so she was born into this era, returning to reality as a mere infant. And with that, the fragment of the shattered chrono trigger fall to the ground softly. The cavern before us slowly starts to come apart, bending inward and outward like a tear in reality, until we are completely removed from its existence. A single girl's voice resounds in the darkness. Please, this dark energy, make it stop. Losing all sense of reality and presence, I become engulfed in this realm, drifting aimlessly through the ages. Is that a T-Rex? I do believe that is a T-Rex, or a dinosaur at least. The world flows, time dissolves, and people live and die. I can see it within this mysterious ocean. The origin of time. Every one of life's tranquilities is here. I can see myself as a baby, crying at my mother's side, where she gives a warm, proud grin. I can see myself as an old man, softly smiling, knowing that death will come soon. Infinite versions of myself extend like ghosts throughout this endless corridor of time. Everywhere I look, I see another life, another era. In this unfolded existence, I see countless lives and countless dreams. Resting in eternity. A kind voice calls out to me. A single song. Kid. Kid. Can you hear my voice? Kid? Answer me, kid. Please? Who? Who's calling my name? Surge? Well, where is this? Kid? You're here. Something gone screwy with the audio? Or is that just the game? That song, that beautiful song, it was Luca's favorite. Kid softly smiles, closing her eyes. I can see she can't help but shed a few tears for this long-lost reminiscence. This song is actually something I composed in my earlier years, back when I was a musician. Kid seems to be very fond of it. You called out to me, Serge. You called my name. Thank you. You won't leave me, will you? I'm here for you, kid. It all makes so much sense now. I know who I am, Serge. I know what I'm here for. Let's go back now, okay? I'm ready. Urgh! Lynx has pinned Kid to the ground. And now you see your death. What do I do? Square off with Lynx, protect Kid. Lynx will have to get through me if he wants to get to Kid. Oh, well I get to put you both out of your misery at once? Lynx raises a saber overhead, ready to plunge it into us. I wouldn't do that if I was you. Quickly turning my head, I look in the direction of the voice. You? There, under a large hood, stands the old woman from before. So, Vera, looks like poor couldn't keep their hands out of this after all, says Lynx flatly. Good to see you again, Master Lynx. Seems you've seen better days. The old lady, she's from Poor? The frozen flame, we will take custody of it now. It seems none of you can decide on who's the rightful owner should be. The old lady gives a small signal, and dozens of armed troops rush out from behind her, securing the cavern. I will not forget this, Vera, Lynx shouts, floating up into the air. Brimming with hatred, Lynx glances towards us, and you will see death by my hand. Saying this, Lynx vanishes into thin air. The soldiers untie McGill and start heading towards us. The old woman gazes down on us from under her hood. I believe you all ought to come with us. Looking up, I notice the armed soldiers have swarmed around us with their weapons ready. Seeing this, McGill instantly waves his hands in the air, calling out some sort of indication. Darkness, envelop under my command. Suddenly all the light in the cavern is put out. It's now or never. Quickly, Surge. I grab onto McGill, who's holding Kid. Together we flee the cavern, vanishing into the darkness. Led by McGill, we make our way out of the mansion. Back in the forest, we see the search party's torches here and there, hunting for us. The militant barking can be heard as they continue to get closer and closer to us. We stop behind a tree for a moment or two. Catching our breath, I look down to Kid, who's taken quite a beating. "Are you okay?" "Yeah, mate. Fine." "We're completely surrounded," says McGill. "We must be on our way." Looking around, I suddenly see torches all around us, starting to close in. Kid suddenly lifts her head. "Go, Serge. Save yourself. The troop is only after McGill and me. If they find you alone, they'll let you go." "Well, what are you talking about? I can't leave you now. Not like this." "I told you I'll be fine, mate. But..." "Don't worry. I remember now, Serge. Who I used to be, long ago," she says, staring up into the night sky. Seeing the reflection of 100,000 stars in her eyes, I can't help but be taken in by that lonely one-in-a-million expression of hers. "Kid, don't worry, I'm okay. I'll see you again," she says with a smile. "Someday, I know I'll see you again, without a doubt." She softly closes her eyes. Luca's chrono trigger was lost. We couldn't even get her hand on the frozen flame. But it's okay. It's all okay, because tonight, in my heart, a shiny new treasure was born, Serge. The single most valuable, unstealable treasure in the entire world. Saying this, Kid stares at me firmly at me with those eyes of hers. Those bold, straight, honest eyes. Knowing who I am, it's bigger than all this. Bigger than Lynx, bigger than the frozen flame, and nothing can take that away. Not as long as I'm alive. At this moment, listening to Under the Starry Sky, I find myself wanting nothing more than to be here with her right now. Staring into her eyes, I only wish time would stop right at this instant. "Goodbye, Serge. Thank you." And with that, Kid turns her back to me and disappears into the darkness. "Kid! Don't follow me. Please, don't follow me." I'm able to control my feelings and start to rush after her. However, a shadow abruptly blocks my path. It's McGill. He slowly shakes his head, a sorrowful look in his eyes. With that, his shadowy figure draws back, dissolving into the darkness. "McGill? Kid!" "Kid! Kid?" And so, that is the end. If I remember right. Yes, it is. Right-o. I believe we get some text here, right at the end. And so, the curtain closes on another tale. However, another time, after the spotlight had faded from Kid, McGill, and Riddell, in another place, and another time, a similar band of adventurers had come forth, equally unsuspecting of their own selves, and life went on as they strode out into the great unknown. But that's a story for another day. For now, I shall put down my pen. As I softly close my grandfather's diary, I hear my mother's voice call to me from downstairs. "Didn't you hear me? Your friend is here." I turn around, already knowing who it is. My door opens quite energetically, where I see a strangely nostalgic young girl barge in. "Serge, we found some ruins of an old mansion up in northern Kisune Forest today. Come on, let's go exploring." And that's the three of us. So that was Radical Dreamers. That's the main scenario, anyway. There are actually various scenarios. I'm wanting to say there's six different scenarios, and each one has got its own unique type of ending. Not all of them even take place inside the mansion, I believe. Some of them are quite odd. I'm not going to be doing them unless I'm asked to, or I decide to make like a separate playlist for it. I just planned on actually doing this because it's this sort of canon ending. Sorry, was interrupted there. Right. But yeah, that's the end. Like I said, there's several different scenarios. But I won't be doing those unless I put them into like a separate playlist, for like other endings, or maybe like bonus episodes, I guess. Or if you're all interested, I can just keep going on with the game. Unfortunately, with a game like this one, it is only a fan translation, so if I want to keep playing, the save does not work, so I have to keep my save stated file. But yeah, this game was pretty good. I remember I ran into it a few years back, so it's been fairly recent. But I've not played this game since probably freshman year, so about 3 years. It was either freshman or sophomore year. I'm wanting to say freshman. So it's been 3 years. So it was good to, get back and see it for what it is, and that was the best ending. There's various other ones, like if Kid doesn't like you, she'll take off with a stone and run off herself, and you die. But I believe McGill gets away. But there's other scenarios as well, like there's this one where Kid is a sunflower, or Kid, makes fun of a sunflower. The sunflower gets mad at her and turns her into some kind of like sunflower monster. And then the point of the scenario is to turn her back into a human. So it's little funny things like that. They're not canon at all. They don't go at all with the game series. All I know is part of this game is mentioned in Chrono Cross as a little like Easter egg, I suppose. It doesn't really connect with the Chrono Cross game, so I can't exactly call it canon. But yeah, that was that scenario. Now, if you're wondering who it is, I don't feel like you could have guessed from it, but it did not directly come out and say, and I guess I spoiled everything with the Frozen Flame being a part of Lavos and everything, is that connection, because of course Lavos would be a meteorite that fell and destroyed the different ages, and the great kingdom that tried to harvest it was Zeal from Chrono Trigger, and Luca was Chrono's friend at the very beginning, the inventor girl. That would be Luca. But all of that is revealed in Chrono Cross as well, in part of Kid's side quest. And I don't feel like spoiling all that. So, if you wish to figure out who exactly Kid is, or if you're smart enough to make the connections now, good on you. If not, then you'll have to find out when I Let's Play Chrono Cross here, hopefully pretty soon, with my very special guest, Life Flame. We have been wanting to do that for this game for quite a while, and we've not been able to, one, because my computer's been out of commission, and two, well, we've really just not been able to get together. We've talked about doing it on Skype. We've talked about just having him come over, I'd steal my dad's computer, and we just knock it out in like a weekend, or like spend break. The plan right now is to hopefully find a way for him to come down during winter break here in the next couple weeks after finals, and we'll spend a week, work it, get it all the way done hopefully, and from there I'd be able to edit the video files, and we'd be able to get it done then. But of course, I like to play my games in order, so it would be Chrono Trigger, this, and then Chrono Cross. So, that is why this Let's Play happened. If you want to see the other scenarios, then by all means tell me, and I will either add them as a bonus episode, or I will just make them their own playlist completely. I am going to, here in fact, do it right now, save this state so that I can come back to this game later, if that is the case. And, yeah, that's about it. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all very soon in another Let's Play. So, see you all then.